You're listening to the E2C Network, podcast by Auburn fans for Auburn fans.
War Eagle Auburn fans, and welcome to TRAX, your source for Auburn track and field and cross-country news and discussion. I'm your host, Jessica Loomis, and I am here with my husband and fabulous co-host, Kyle, to discuss the SEC Outdoor Championship, which took place May 13th through 15th in College Station, Texas.
You know what is also fabulous?
You.
Well, I mean, you already said that, but what was also fabulous is that we technically have made it through what I would consider an entire outdoor track and field season for the first time in 2
years.
It's crazy. I know we've still got the rest of the postseason to talk about. The fact that we completed an entire regular season, no issues, that is crazy.
That's a miracle in and of itself, and we are grateful to be here.
And here's the funny thing, too, is now that everything's starting to get a little bit better, it's still outdoors, so they should feel even safer out there.
Isn't that the truth?
It is. And that's what frustrates me. I'm going to gripe for a second. The fact that I didn't get into the War Eagle invite.
It's because we were outside.
It was still outside. And I'm sorry. I'm just getting a little frustrated about this because this would have been a great year to watch some Auburn track and field because they've done some really good things.
They really, really have. So, speaking of great things, let's talk about this meet. That's kind of why we're here.
The SECs. Woo woo.
So, team scores. This is the first time we've talked about team scores really all season. So, Auburn scored enough points to actually be middle of the pack for the women. So, they scored 59 overall team points to place 7th out of 13 teams.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
In your honest opinion, where would you have placed based off of how they performed in the regular season? Where would you thought they would have placed?
Honestly, I thought they would have been farther back. This was like 9th place.
9th place. So this
was a good surprise for me.
So they jumped forward from what your expectations were.
Yeah, definitely. And there were a lot of, remember, the point system is 10 points for first place, 8 points for second, 6 points for third, 4, 3, 2, 1, on and on to the 8th place. So this means that we had a lot of high scoring placements.
No, yeah. I mean, when you've got headliners like, Kylie Carter, Maddie
Presley
Malone,
Weems.
It's just, we knew probably the women were going to, in quotations here, outperform the men, obviously.
Right.
Different events.
Score more points,
but it's still nice to see us maybe exceed even the expectations we set for ourselves on the women's side.
Absolutely. So just a couple highlights because I don't want to ruin the magic of all of the results. But for the women, we had Presley Weems, who placed second in the women's 1,500 meter. And then Joyce Camelli set the Auburn school record for the 5,000 meter run and placed third.
Placed third and still set a school record.
Yeah. That shows you how fast this meet was.
This competition is outstanding.
It's outstanding for outdoor.
Oh my gosh. I knew a bad joke was coming, but I didn't think it was that one.
It is sad that I'm the one with the dad jokes.
Oh my gosh, Jessica. This is it gave me a headache just that joke alone. All right.
Sorry.
Before she drops any more of those corny jokes, the men on their side, they had a team score of 30 points, which got them 10th out of 13. So I'll ask you the same question. Below, at, or above what you thought they would do?
Honestly, that's exactly where I thought the men would be.
So you thought men and women would probably be about the 9-10 mark together?
I did.
Okay. Well, the men actually met at the expectations, and I guess I don't want to sound bad about previous teams, but just taking an objective look about it, we've been in the 13th spot. We've been in the 12th, the 11th spot, so this is a step forward in the right direction for both squads.
Absolutely.
And then we had Malik Medavir for some of the highlights, who placed third in the men's 400-meter hurdles with a PR of 49.58 seconds. Just a taste of what's coming, because we want to save all the good stuff for when we start talking about all of the events here. But I'm very pleased by what I see here with the 7th place finish for women.
Yeah, and the 10th place for men.
I will say I'm slightly underwhelmed by the men a little bit, because I kind of had hoped that we would see them into the 8th place, something like that. I knew that the women were going to get a higher placement from the men because they've had not better athletes, but athletes who have been doing bigger things in a greater quantity on the women's side. Sure. So it makes sense that they would place higher in that format. Yeah,
that makes sense. But I don't think we should be discouraged. I think we had a lot of good talent show up, even though they may not make it to the next round of competition. Mm-hmm. It was a good meet.
Absolutely
overall.
Was. Very, very, very happy with what happened here.
Yeah, definitely. So let's move on to the entirety of the results. So for the men's 100-meter dash, we had Christopher Grant placing 10th out of 27 athletes with his average time, 10.41, so it's his season best, but he's run it quite a few times this season. Then Jason Reese placing 20th with a time of 10.63, his fastest this season.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised Christopher Grant because he's done a little bit better, but again, it goes to show you the level of competition that's here at SEC Championships.
That's it, because this was his fastest time of the season. So it just shows you that,
it's not like he underperformed. He did his absolute best.
Yeah.
And that's all you can do when you go out there on the biggest stage.
And that's what you hope for. Whether you place or not, you hope that you do your very best at the championship meet, you know?
Because that's no regrets. It's like, I've literally maxed out.
Absolutely.
Nothing to hold back on.
Absolutely. So men's 800 meter, we had Eric Brown placing 6th out of 8 athletes. This is for the finals. So he did qualify for finals, and he ran his season best with a time of 1 minute 48.8 seconds.
Another athlete doing their very best when it most counts.
Yep.
The men's 5,000 meter, we've got one competitor. That is Tommy McDonough, got 20th out of 30 with a run of 14 minutes 53.5 seconds. So this is not his fastest time, but still, in the second group, I was about to say the second half. It's not the half. But 20th out of 30 is not bad in terms of SEC competition. All right, the steeplechase. We love to talk about the steeplechase. In fact, I watched some people fall in the steeplechase.
Isn't it funny?
It really is. And I
don't mean to laugh, but it's funny.
Should I feel bad laughing at that?
As long as they're not injured, right? Okay. As long as they're not, majorly injured. But I could watch a montage of steeplechase falls all day long.
In fact, if you need a good laugh right now, just go look that up. And, just understand
It'll bring you a lot of joy.
They're still great athletes. Doesn't matter if they fall in the water and stuff. If you need to know what steeplechase is, you can go find it there. It's pretty entertaining. 3,000 meters steeplechase for the men. Silas Kipnijic got 13th out of 20 competitors with a run of 9 minutes. 9 minutes, 13.7 seconds. We also had Jack Rogers, 18th out of 20, 9 minutes, 24.8 seconds. And this was not the best times for either of them, but this is a hard event to run in.
Yep, for sure. So speaking of hard events, let's talk about some hurdles. Men's 110 meter hurdles. We had Oquendo Bernard placing 12th out of 15 athletes in 14.43 seconds, kind of right in the middle of where he's been this season. Then for the men's 400 meter hurdles, we had Malik Medavir qualify for finals. He placed 3rd out of 9 athletes with his season best of 49.58 seconds, and as Kyle said earlier, a personal best as well.
Yeah, and he's the headliner for the men overall, so it kind of helps you understand why they maybe fell back a little bit in the actual placements.
Yep.
When your best is 3rd overall, but people are scoring points up until the 8th position, isn't it?
Correct. It just significantly drops off. So Malik scored a solid 6 points. So what do we say? That's a 5th of the points that the men scored. So great job to him.
Yeah, I mean, he was the best contributor there and kind of led the way for the men. All right, let's talk about some field events for the men. The high jump. TJ Funchess, 12th out of 13 with a jump of 2.07 meters. We also had in the pole vault, which is a jump. It's a jump.
You almost said vault. You knew.
James Corson, 4th out of 14, just outside of the podium. 5.25 meters was his jump. Not his best, but very close to it.
Yeah.
He had a 5.35 meter jump about 5 weeks ago or something like that. I'm very proud of what James has done this season, and he just got outside of getting us that bronze medal.
Yeah, but that's okay because he still scored a solid 4 points.
Anything to get us higher up in the rankings, that's all.
Absolutely. So moving on to the shot put, we had Adam Strauff placing 10th out of 15 athletes with a throw of 17.98 meters. Kind of right in the middle for him this season. Then for the men's hammer throw, we actually had 3 athletes. We had Kyle Brown placing 8th out of 17 with 66.61 meters, his best this season, followed by Eric Ebel placing 12th in 63.46 meters, and Kyle Moisen placing 13th in 62.34 meters.
All the competitors right there in the middle of the pack with the SEC competition for the most part.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, the last stuff we've got to talk about for the men, I'll finish us out here. All throwing events, which I love. The men's javelin throw, I almost called him the Nile. Niles Fisher, 3rd out of 12 competitors. He did get us the bronze medal with a throw of 71.60 meters. The interesting thing, this is not his best.
It's actually his worst this season.
I was going to be nice about it, but
I'm just saying, so hopefully he will qualify for nationals, whatever the next step is.
Right.
And he can throw his best.
All right, so let's just speculate here. We know we're seeing at least a couple of teams that are the best of the best in track and field.
Yes.
Arkansas
Yes.
is definitely one of those.
Yes.
I know that hurts to say that,
Yes.
especially in that type of stuff.
Yes.
So if you were to take Niles' best and apply that he competed against the best, got third here in the SEC, if he does his best in nationals, where do you think he might fall?
I mean,
in
I
the
think
group?
he's got a solid chance to be middle of the pack.
I think he could break the top 5, personally. It may be a stretch.
That's a stretch, but nothing is impossible.
I think that he's got the potential to do that because he's kind of burst onto the scene this year.
For sure.
And really surprised us. The men's discus, Kyle Moisten, 21 out of 22 competitors in that discus throw. 46.65 meters was his throw. Not his best, but right there in the middle of everything. The men's decathlon, Alex Spiridonidis, we had 3 competitors overall, got second out of 13 with 7,618 points.
His season best.
Followed by David Edmondson, 8th out of 13, 6,626 points. Woo! So many points.
Also, his season best.
And John Murray, 10th out of 13, 6,498 points.
And guess what?
Also,
His season best.
there you go.
So all 3 men did the best in the men's decathlon.
That's exactly what you want to see for the men. So overall, when you look at this, obviously not as flashy. We got 2 third-place finishes. There were a couple of PRs in there. So I think this is something you walk away from and being just slightly more than satisfied with. Like if you wanted to meet, you met expectations and took a step forward, which is what you want to do.
I agree.
Hey Auburn family, we're going to take a quick breather from this episode to bring you an important message. One of the most well-known things about Auburn fans is how loyal they are, and we show that loyalty by the colors that we wear. Let us help you stock up on those colors by going over to our tpublic.com store. There you'll find a variety of merchandise geared towards designs based on E2C Network and Auburn content. While TeePublic is known for their t-shirts, they have a wide selection of merchandise options for you to select one of these designs to be put on. They also have other types of apparel, stickers, mugs, and much more. Here's the beauty of it. Your purchase will help support this network and the content that we regularly produce. The purchase will also go to support independent artists who put a lot of hard work into designing these concepts, especially for you, the Auburn family. And did I mention that they regularly have sales? T-shirts for $13? You have to be kidding me. If you're ready to explore your purchase options, head on over to tpublic.com/store/E2C Network. You can also get there by going to our website at e2cnetwork.com/support. Now that you've got some options to suit up for game day, let's head back into this episode.
So moving on to the women's 1500 meter. And all the women's results for that matter. Presley Weems, like we discussed, got a second place finish in the finals. She did make it to finals. So there were 12 athletes competing in that. And she ran a time of 4 minutes, 15.7 seconds.
Slightly slower.
I was going to say, it isn't even her season best, but to get that silver medal, those 8 points, I am so proud for her and so excited to see her because I think she definitely will make it onto the national scene with
I wonder, I know we don't have this information in front of us, but if we compared the winner versus her best time, how far off she would be.
Yeah.
Because it's only about a 1.4
second difference.
Spread there. So I would bet probably she got beat by more than that, just kind of speculating.
Maybe.
But it's probably a lot closer.
You should never know. So for the women's 5,000 meter, we did have 33 competitors, Joyce Camelli placed third, getting that bronze medal and the 6 points for the team with 15 minutes, 48.8 seconds. And we're going to say it's her season best because it's the only time she's competed in the 5,000 meter.
How good an athlete are you that you just walk out the first time you do something and you place on the podium?
Yeah, I don't need to practice this at the other little trivial meets. Let me just come and completely annihilate everybody and get third.
Can I just say that Kylie Carter, as my favorite track and field athlete right now, has got a little bit of competition with Joyce now?
Oh, Joyce is freaking bomb. All of these women, these distance runners, and I'm going to throw Presley in there as distance.
Yes,
I know traditionally the 1500 is more of a middle distance, but in track and field, that's distance. These distance women are on fire, and I'm here for it.
Because you're a distance runner, and that's why you love it.
That's right.
In the women's 400-meter hurdles, we've got Tyler Colbert, 19th out of 21 competitors, a 62.75 for second run for her. Nia Benton-Andrews following up there with 20th out of those 21 competitors. 63.06 was her run. We've also got the women's 400 meter, or it's not 400, the 4x100 relay. The four competitors, Tyler Colbert, Nia Benton-Andrews, Zatoria Thompson, and Destiny Charles. I think we've all seen this group. This is probably the core group for this event. Got 6th out of 7th. 44.84 seconds was their run as a group. And
actually their best for the season.
Yeah. So they got 45 when they started off, got down to 44 a couple meets ago, and then now are down at this point.
And now they have changed. So Myra Mack ran it a couple times in place of Zatoria. And we've changed the
order.
The order, correct. So it seems to be working. Fastest time of the season. So proud of those girls.
Something I've noticed, and maybe I'm going to speak too soon here, we've had nobody finish dead last in any event thus far.
Exactly.
I love it.
We're doing great. So women's high jump, 3 competitors. Caroline Lawrence placing 8th out of 16 with a jump of 1.75 meters, followed by Zatoria Thompson placing 10th in 1.70 meters, and Kamaya Dindy 13th with that also jump of 1.70 meters. Just didn't clear it as many times as Zatoria did. It's
always confusing me to look at that. You've explained it to me 1,000 times, and every time I do a double
Because
take.
here's the thing to me. If I've cleared that height, why am I having to do it again? Like, that should just be it. And move the bar. It's a win. Go on. But apparently that's not how that works.
You should go out there and have a word with the field event operators.
There's so many things that I would gripe to them about. Number 1 is, why is your gun so loud? But anyway.
This is what grinds my gears from Jessica.
You know what the title of this podcast should be is, why is your gun so loud?
It's a long title, but okay.
Well, anyway, women's shot put. Tori McKinley placing 8th out of 20 competitors with a throw of 15.86 meters, her season best by a significant amount. Previously, her season best was 15.08 meters. So what is that? 0.78 meters farther.
That's some good quick math. Here's the thing about Tori, and I think I've hinted at it a little bit. I've just tried to mince my words. She's a little underperformed, a little bit, in my opinion, in the regular season. Wow. Just
Killing
come out
it.
now out there on the biggest stage and just, get your best out there. That's the way you want to do it.
Absolutely. Next for women's shot put, we have Mara Hewalt placing 14th with a throw of 15.47 meters. Then Jocelyn Budwig placing 17th, 14.55 meters. So solid performance from the women's shot put team.
I'm going to steal the rest of the throws so I can have... Not for the last time, because I know we've got nationals left, and she's definitely going to be it. But I want to end with Kylie Carter there at the end. All right, first, though, women's discus. Mara Hewalt, 4th, just missed the podium out of 14 competitors. 52.01 meter throw for her. Not her best, but close to it. Jocelyn Budwig, 10th out of 14, 48.63 meter throw for her. Right there, kind of middle. Well, maybe not middle, actually. I'm kind of looking back at this. Yeah, right in the middle of where she normally is. The hammer throw, a familiar name, Maddie Malone, gets the podium 3rd out of 18, 64.70 meter throw for her. Now the javelin, where the Carters have been dominating.
You say the Carters like they're related, and we actually don't know if they are.
I think we did a little research and figured out they're not. Of course, now they'll hear this and refute that. So we're sorry if that's true.
We're just grateful that we don't know you, because we're sorry.
I was about to say, you're grateful that we don't know them? That sounds very rude.
Because if we did know them and we didn't know if they were family or not.
Now I understand.
Yeah.
Now I understand. However, not only do they dominate because they're the Carters and they're good at javelin, but they almost themselves took the whole podium. If there was one more Carter, we might have done. We have in the women's javelin throw, Kylie Carter just misses winning the whole dang thing for an SEC championship. 2nd out of 14, a 56.24 meter throw for her. She's done a lot better.
She's actually, her season best was 60.69 meters. Now, again, you don't know what wind was a factor in any of these throws, but solid performance for her. Right in the middle of where she's thrown. Like we said, she has thrown better, so looking forward to seeing her at nationals.
I would argue that had she even got halfway to her best, she probably would have won this event. I didn't look at the first place, distance to kind of compare that.
We're just going to go with that's a yes.
But if she's only doing her mid-best at SECs, and if she does even half of that at nationals, she's probably looking very good for, being somewhere in the top 3. overall, I think that's kind of where we're all expecting her to be.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure, but I think she can do it.
She can definitely handle the pressure.
Not to be forgotten, though, Ashley Carter, 3rd out of 14, 52.37 meter throw for her, which is just below her best on the season.
Yep.
Very, very good. So I would imagine we'll probably see both of these in further postseason competition.
Hopefully so.
And we've also got a few more things here to round out. We've got Kiara McCarroll, who was also in the javelin. Here I was forgetting her altogether. 5th out of 14, 49.92 meter throw for her. Just a little bit in the middle of where she's been previous this season.
Definitely. So the last event was the women's heptathlon. It is so interesting to me that the women do the heptathlon, the men do the decathlon. That's too many things. But anyway, I'll digress. Natasha Jordan placed 6th out of 17 with a point score of 5,530 points. So very good performance for her, right down the middle.
Right.
Pleased overall with that.
As opposed to going through all the events and telling you every bit of scoring and all that stuff, just to give you a perspective of what she did in the heptathlon. The 100-meter hurdles, the high jump, the shot put, the 200-meter run, the long jump, the javelin throw, and the 800-meter run. That's a lot of variety there that you've got to be able to compete against.
So many things.
And she placed almost in the top 5 in SEC competition. Did very well.
Absolutely. So Auburn has a week break, and then they return for the NCAA East prelims May 25th through the 29th in Jacksonville, Florida. So this was kind of a good reminder for me that the top 48 athletes from each event will qualify, or the top 24 for relay teams. So not everybody gets to go to the NCAA East prelims, of course, but we have a good opportunity for a lot of our athletes to be there. So we will be thankful that they get a rest, and then we look forward to bringing them back May 25th through the 29th.
Now, hopefully by the time you're hearing this, they've announced who's going to be there, officially.
Correct.
So we'll know that exactly. But Auburn's not had the opportunity the last couple of seasons to talk about more than a handful of people going to preliminaries in nationals, much less the actual national championships.
But
so
I think
savor this.
Yeah, we've got an opportunity, I think, for some of our athletes to actually make it all the way to nationals.
I would count on it.
Yeah.
I'm stepping out a little bit there. I'm out on a limb there, and it feels a little shaky, but I feel confident it'll hold.
I feel confident at least 2 of them will be there, and I think they'll probably both be women.
I like it. We're calling our shots already.
Okay, all right.
Our shot puts.
Oh, God. We knew you would have a dad joke.
Got one in before the show ended.
Well, thank y'all for joining us. That's all we have for this edition of Tiger Tracks. War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Before you get out of here, we want to remind you of a couple of things. Head over to e2cnetwork.com, our website where you can find everything that you'll ever need from us, podcasts, blogs, and even ways to help support the show. If you want to find individual episodes, you can download all of these on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. So until we see you again, I want to remind you of one thing, that here at the network, we believe in Auburn and love it. The only question remains, do you?